I'm genuinely curious how Romans 10, 9 and 10 fits in the doctrine of faith alone. Romans 10, 9 and 10 says, if you confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you shall be saved. For with the heart one believes unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. If you skip down to verse 13, everyone who calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. So when we look at this doctrine of faith alone, and we look at Romans...
All right, Justin, I appreciate you sending that video to me, and here's my response to that. So if we look at Romans 10, and I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible so my video is not super long. So Romans 10, if we go through 6 through 8, verses 6 through 8 show that the righteousness required to go to heaven is received by believing Christ. It's believing that he's already come and risen from the dead. That's the gospel, which is verse 8. And then verses 9 and 10 separates two separate actions. One action being believing, which brings righteousness, which is your eternal salvation. And then the other action is confession, which brings deliverance, which is a practical help, a general salvation. Even the Greek word there, it doesn't mean, save you from hell. It just means deliverance, preservation, safety. It doesn't mean saving you from hell. I think that's where the confusion is coming in on your part. When it says something about salvation or save, you automatically assume that means from hell, and it does not mean that in every instance. And actually, in a lot of instances, it doesn't mean that. But 9 through 10, the confession part is echoing a lot of the Psalms and other passages in the Bible. So, like for instance, Psalms 30:18, 80:19, 18:3, 50:15, and 91:15. And I'll just read some of them. So Psalms 18:3 is using this in a way that Romans is using it. So it says, I will call upon the Lord, who is worthy to be praised, so shall I be saved from mine enemies. And then Psalms 50:15 says, and call upon me in the day of trouble, I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me. So the confession there is calling upon the name of the Lord for a practical help, for deliverance. It's just a general salvation. Does not mean from hell. And then lastly, 16 through 7 just calls it obeying the gospel, which simply means believing that message about the Messiah. So that's why faith alone can go into that passage and it still flow with faith alone. But my challenge to you, because I know you believe water baptism is necessary for salvation, if we take it the view that you take it, that confession saves you from hell, there's nowhere in there that says water baptism saves you from hell. So I would challenge you to, how would you put that and insert that into Romans 10:9? That would be my question to you. But thanks for the video again.